awareness.
Well, that's good that folks in our nation's capital are considering this as they consider the very important topic of long-term or health care reform. That's important as well. I had spoken to some folks and thought that it was a very good idea to try to prepare oneself financially for long-term care issues, and we introduced a couple of bills here, but we wanted to look at savings and also tax credit for long-term care. And those bills are now, I think, in our Health Policy Committee in the Senate, but we hope that they do move shortly. But are they going to have an impact, do you think, here in Michigan?
Oh, I really do think so. I think they're really.
And Lisa, let me say, I'm glad you do, since you're on my program. But no, I'm kidding you. Thank you very much. You're kind.
There are about 29 states currently that have some kind of state tax deductibility that addresses long-term care premiums. The legislation that you've put forward is far more reaching than that. It really allows for a wide variety of approaches to long-term care. In your, I think it's Bill 15, the long-term health savings account, very much like a health savings account. This is for eligible long-term care types of expenses. So you can, if you're in a circumstance where you can't afford insurance, but you can start, but you can make some savings. You can either use it for actual care, or you can take take a deduction with the premium. The amount, I think, is very generous. I believe it's $5,000 for an individual and $10,000 for a couple. And also, I believe in Bill 16, there's also a provision that allows you to just, if you don't want to use a health savings account, to take your premium deduction above the line.
Absolutely, and kind of my philosophy is I'd rather provide incentives for people to really think about their own needs and prepare for those ahead of time, and hopefully we can kind of change the culture and get folks really thinking about this. You're doing, obviously, much more in that arena than I, but and I appreciate your coming and sharing, but I just think that's very, very important. Maybe we could talk just for a moment about why people don't seem to do that. I mean, I know life is full and it's busy, and there are so many things happening right now. We hope this has a real impact, but right now, I think we touched on it earlier. Why aren't people thinking about this issue now?
Yeah, I think, we did some focus groups, and there's a lot of studies done on this around purchase behavior. And it's just denial, it's a lack of understanding, it's mixing healthcare with custodial care, and some perceptions that it's too expensive. And also, if you're not in a circumstance or near a circumstance, so if you're in your perhaps 30s or just not having to deal with a circumstance, it's a very alien concept. We go back to my dad, it's like, well, just shoot me, or I'm just going to die. Or it's just this lack of understanding that as you age, you're going to need some help. And, I've been in the insurance industry for a very long time, and I never really even understood or knew about this product till about 10 years ago. So it's one of the best kept insurance secrets, unfortunately. It's really about education. And as the boomers, go through the retirement, they're starting to have to care for their elders, starting to understand. So I think that we're on the cusp of something big, of really getting consumers' awareness up. And so anything we can do in that arena would really be helpful. I think it's mostly the lack of understanding.
The baby boomer generation obviously has changed and is changing many things, and I think you're right. And I'm at that age where I have a lot of friends who are experiencing the need, to deal with some of these issues of aging parents. And you're right, I think it makes them think about their own lives as well, and not wanting to be a burden, and maybe that's a poor way to say it, but not wanting to put an extra burden on their children.
Absolutely.
As well. I mean, my goal would be to leave things for my kids, very positive things and some resources, but not to put extra stress on them as they're trying to make it. And in these difficult economic times, it's tough enough as it is.
That's very true, and actually some children don't live even near their parents to provide that support. So there's a lot of people that are scattered across the country and can't even provide the support if they wanted to. So it is an important asset protection, as you say. And I did want to mention that I know the state of Michigan is working on the partnership program that would allow you to protect some of your assets from spend down if you should run out of long-term care insurance. So you buy insurance, say for $200,000, it'll protect your assets up to $200,000 before you'd have to spend down for Medicaid if you should, have to move into that circumstance. So there's a lot of things that is happening, and hopefully, these will finally turn the corner. I think one final thing I want to say about the impetus to purchase or to think about long-term care, and that's really when you think about trying to get all of us to save, the 401ks, I think without the incentive of some type of tax deductibility, you're just not going to get people to do it. And it's something that's so far into the future. So that is the one key impetus that's going to really get people to start to do this. And I think, we're going to either pay now. I know, tax deductibility is a cost to the state, but, you pay now or you pay later with increasing Medicaid costs.
And probably much more expensive care. So that's a good point, because some people may say, well, why should you give a tax credit for these folks who are doing something for themselves? Well, I think it saves society in the long term, in the long run, but also, as I said before, I like to incentivize those kinds of positive behaviors that are going to be a blessing to all of us in the long term. I think it's an important topic. I want to thank you for coming in, and thank you for saying some very nice things about my legislation, but I want to thank you for what you do in helping people live better lives and perhaps even longer lives with more quality. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
And I want to thank all of you for joining us once again on From Capital to Community. Have a great day.